Today we're going to build my version of building the Team C, and actually the Team C T8, GT8L, and pretty much all the 8 scale differentials. These particular differentials are going to have 300,000 weight in the front, 30,000 in the rear. We're going to replace the bearings. We're going to use metal shield stainless bearings. They're a lot faster than the rubber sealed. On road, you don't really need a rubber sealed bearing. This is not dust and actual dirt. A lot of grime, but nothing compared to dirt like an off-road buggy. This is just the first problem you kind of run into with differentials in general, and I know I for one hate when they leak. That just kind of drives me nuts because it makes a really nasty mess. So what I do typically, I'll take some 100 grit sandpaper on a flat surface, and if you look closely at your differential housing, you can see where it's not actually flat. There's some shiny parts and some non-shiny parts. So I'll take this on a flat surface. Make sure you do this on a flat surface, because if you do it on something that's not flat, all you're doing is sanding the surface and it's not going to sand flat. So on a flat surface, you're just going to take it, circular motions or figure 8, look at it, and you'll see where there's a low spot and high spot. There's still some shiny spots that are on there. So you sand it just enough to get it all flat. Not quite there yet. Okay, that one's flat. I'm going to do the other one now. That one's flat. Also, by using a kind of a coarse sandpaper, I use a sealant, and actually it's Permatex Ultra Rubber Gasket. What's good about this sealant is that it doesn't actually harden. It kind of stays wet the whole time. So if you go to rebuild your diff or change the diff fluid, you can still reuse the gasket without tearing it up. If you use silicone or something like that, your gasket gets tore in pieces when you pull it apart. This stuff never actually dries. It's really, really good stuff. I use it on everything. Okay, so second part about leakage on the diffs is that on the diff out drives, you'll notice there's a little groove towards the outside of it. What that groove is for, it's actually an oil catch, if you kind of think of it that way. What happens is any oil that seeps through the O-ring will get to that little groove, and hopefully it'll slow it down enough. So what I do to kind of help that process is I'll take a thick grease, whatever you really want to use, thicker the better. And what I'll do, I'll take some of this, and I try to do it early so it has time to, because stuff takes a long time to seep down. And I'll put some in the groove, or like a little bit above the groove actually, because when you go to put it together, it'll slide into the groove. Just kind of dab it on there. There's no magic to it. By the time we get to install that, those will kind of run down a little bit. So this is, I'm actually using 300,000. Okay, those are all done now. Okay, so next, we're going to start to actually build the differential. Now, obviously don't forget your bearings. Like I said before, we're using a metal shield bearing. RC Shock sells a kit, $25 for all the bearings except for the, actually all the drivetrain bearings, not including the clutch bell or the 2-speed bearings. So we're going to install that first. Take any of your out drive cup. And the trick to this is that what you want to do is when you put it in, you want to spin it to make sure it gets in that groove. Like that, and that's it. And we're going to take our O-ring. And I also like to put a little bit of grease on the O-ring or something on there typically. And the reason for that is because it's kind of the same theory. You don't want to have an O-ring, if it's dry, you can tear. So just a little bit of something on there, not a lot. Just enough to kind of get it wet. Okay, so now we got that on there. Then we're gonna put our sun gear shim on. Make sure you press it down all the way. Okay, now we're gonna put our cross pin in. You can use tweezers or pliers, whatever is easier for you. Actually, I kind of like to use pliers myself. Make sure they're clean. Kind of tricky. You don't put it in the middle of the pin. You put it towards the back side of it. It makes it easier to put in. Kind of put it in an angle. Drive it in. Use your pliers to push it the rest of the way to reach it. There you go. Okay. Now, one thing you want to do, air is what kind of messes up your diff. So we're gonna do a 300,000 first. So what I want to do is put kind of a big dab of this stuff in there below the gear. The more grease you have in there, the less chance of air you're gonna have in there. So just kind of throw that in. This stuff is really thick. Try to get it on the edge if you can help it, so that seals real well. So just get that in there. Put your gear. Okay, now since this stuff is so thick, you want it to sit for a little while. So we're gonna put this in there, and I'm gonna have to wipe it off. This is gonna be nasty. It always is. That's probably going to be about right. We're going to let that sit for a little while, let it settle down. Alright, we're going to go to our second differential now. Same process, bearing, twist, out drive in. This one's going to be 30,000. You don't want to put too much in on this step, but you want to have some oil below the spider gears. So once again, you're gonna let that sit for a little while and settle down. So when you put the spider gears in, it's going to obviously fill up space and rise closer to the top. Okay, so that part's done. So we're gonna move on to our ring gear assembly. Same basic process, same exact process really. Bearing, spin the out drive, bearing, spin the out drive. Always one. Okay. Now, on these, on the ring gears, you want to put another drop of oil, any kind on there. And the reason why, if you don't, then that gear wants to fall off when you go to install it. So you don't need a lot, just enough to kind of make the gear stick. Those are now done, and then it's always a good habit to mark what you're doing. So this one's gonna have 300. So next step is a kind of messy. This stuff is you don't need a very, very light coat, not a lot, but it is messy because you have to do both sides. So just jump in and be prepared for it. And you don't want to have too much because it'll squirt out, squeeze out, and get all over the gear. So just kind of get a light coat is good. Both sides. That's all. That's all you need. push that down in a minute. Let me get the other one done. Okay, now those are done. And you don't have to rush, like I said before, it doesn't dry all the way, so you're okay. So alright, let's go back to our differential. It looks like our heavy one is settled down pretty good. That's probably gonna be enough grease for that. So let's go to our spider gears. I don't use the shims. The kit comes with shims for the spider gears. I found in testing that you don't need them. They don't make any noise. They don't wear out, and all they really do is make it a little tighter than it needs to be, to the point where you actually need lighter diff fluid if you do use a shim, and that's never a good sign. So the differential works better without the shims, and you can use thicker oils. I think with the shims in a car, 50,000 front, 10,000 rear felt about right. Without the shims, 300,000 and 30 feels about the same, but it does have better response and better steering that way. So anyway, so we're going to drop these in. Spin it really slow to get the grease kind of mixed in there a little bit, and we're gonna let that sit a little bit longer. I think the fluid level is gonna be just about right. Okay, so now we're gonna do our rear diff the same way. And our rear differential is going to need probably another couple drops of fluid. It's a little bit low. Alright, now we're going to wipe off the top of our gift case best you can. Install. There you have it.